We're here with another episode of Sukhan Unplugged, and I'm here with a topic that's very close to my heart, and I'm really grateful that I have someone really special and much more experienced than I am to discuss this with. I'll get right into it. We have Hana here, who's the founder of Faltu Se Paltu. Faltu Se Paltu is more than just an animal shelter. They do extensive work in creating awareness about the plight of stray animals in Pakistan, especially stray dogs. And I think I'll let you do the rest of the talking. So first off, ये कि थोड़ा सा I think आप अपनी journey का बताएं कि how did it start? Like ऐसा क्या हुआ था that you thought I have to start this initiative?
Okay, so initially जो सबके साथ होता है गलती से you come across an animal and that sort of changes your entire perspective on what animals are for you. This is exactly what happened. I rescued one cat. We had just moved from Islamabad. I rescued one cat from here, Hussain Chowk basically. So he had it hanging upside down. Her name was Mimsy. और किसी की चोरी की हुई थी, वो बेचने के लिए था और पहले वो बेच रहा था, पहले मुझसे खरीदने लगे. And then I was like, why should I pay him for something that is wrong? So I just grabbed the cat. I started fighting on the road and I just literally put the cat in the car and we went. और उसके बाद, now I had a cat before as well, but that was like the pet cat who would never care that you were alive or anything like that, and she wouldn't care that anything happens. But this one, she was so grateful. Like she was very weak and we got her into surgeries and she healed pretty fine. But after that, she would follow me everywhere. She would sit outside the washroom when I was there. So I was like, what's different? Like what changed here? And then everyone would tell me she's very happy that you saved her life. I was like, okay, that's the thing. And then I would go to the vet and I would see animals being dumped there. So I would pick 1 or 2 or 3 cats. So initially it was 1 cat, but it just kept on growing and growing and growing. But it wasn't until a few years when I realized that what's happening, it's not like one in a few thing issue. It was very systematic. Like I understand that animals are being abused here on a very regular basis. We have systems to make sure that you can sort of eradicate them entirely. Dog culling was a very normal thing, and that's when I realized that this is not done. Like this is a part of us that we just because we have not been talking about it, we don't know about it, but this is happening in the real world. And that's when the actual identity of Faltu Se Paltu sort of came in as an awareness initiative along with the rescue one. Right.
I think something that मुझे थोड़ा अंदाज़ा नहीं था, but आप लोगों की stories देख के हुआ है. I think from the outside in, people don't realize how much work goes on just the day-to-day, like the maintenance of a shelter. So, maybe kind of walk people through what a day-to-day in Faltu Se Paltu looks like.
Okay, so basically our system is slightly different from other shelters. So we have like a live-in at the shelter system that we have been working with for all these years, because our expertise lies in special need animals, and that is like you cannot be away for more than 2 hours. And that also means during the night. So I wake up at 3 a.m. at the night. I guess I have to just go and check in on all the animals. There are animals that that have bladders that need to be expressed, and some have whose sides have to be changed. So it's more like this work is around the clock. There are no timings. I always say there's no calendar, there's no timing in shelter work. You just have to be present at all times. And then we have the best thing that what works with shelter is the routine. So our dogs, they know that okay, there's one set of dogs that have to wake up at 4 a.m. They're up, they're barking. They'll let us out. We let them out. Then the other pack knows that okay, we're going to come down at 7 o'clock. So they will be ready at 7, and the next is at 8. And meanwhile, we start doing the cleaning and the feeding. So there's a complete routine to it, and everyone has to sort of stick to routine. मैं सबको ये समझाती हूँ, my entire team, that this is like a car. Even if one thing isn't working fine, the entire thing doesn't work. And we have children with us as well who take equal part. So वो भी सुबह उठ के उनकी भी रेस लगी होती है, हमारी भी लगी थी. चलिए, clock is something very important, but for the animal, for you, it doesn't exist. You just have to be there. But it's interesting in a way that it doesn't feel like work, especially when you're doing in a setting where you're living with the animals. So I sleep with about 6 dogs in my bed, and it's their bed. Or Rubina bhi hai, wo bhi upar, we have this policy of sleeping with the animals because you never know what happens in the night. Anything can go wrong. So we're very attuned to the voices. You know, रात के कोई लड़ाई हो रही है, कुछ हो रहा है, so उठ के check करना. So वो भी सोती है, तो सर्दियाँ हैं, तो you might have noticed कि cats और dogs ऊपर सो जाते हैं. So वो ऊपर सो जाते हैं, then she's waiting in the morning कि कोई आएगा पहले इनको उतारे ऊपर से, फिर वो नीचे सोते. So it's fun and interesting in a manner, but then there's a system to it. Like there are rules. You cannot be away for more than 2 hours. There are choti galtiyan. Just for example, the children that we have, they cannot have snacks in the animal areas because it might have chocolate. So it's like you just realize that your brain is being wired very differently to be around animals. But that's shelter care.
Right. And अब शुरू में तो आप you said that you saw a few cats and you kind of brought them in. But ab jab rescue ka kya process hota hai? Does someone like reach out to you, or do you like go to certain places to see if you can help? Like kis tarah se hota hai?
So rescue in Pakistan, in every major city, it works like a network. और जो major working space है ना आपकी, वो social media है. So what happens that I am glad that this has finally started happening, that the reporting culture has increased. So they start circulating a certain case on social media. It reaches to you if you're in the area, if you're able to help, if you have space. So that's when you step in. And we usually step in the cases of paralysis, special needs animal, if they're blind, if they're very, very senior. So we have this expertise because our setup allows such animals to be here. So we usually, if such a case has come in, we have the case dropped to the vets. The vets, they take over, they examine the animal. If it has to be admitted for a while, they're admitted until the initial treatment is done. And once they're better, we bring them to the shelter. Right. If they have to be, the main focus is to either move them to fosters or home-based boardings if they're too young, because at shelters, pups and kittens, they don't survive. So you have these categories of what animal can come to the shelter, when the animal come to the shelter. So you sort of have to respect that.
Okay, I have to ask, like, animal rescue in itself is very challenging. Why go even deeper and say it's going to be special needs, or it's going to be some neurodivergent, or like why specifically that?
Okay, so I've always had this place in my heart for animals. I feel like anyone who's different is very misunderstood in this society. So even in animal rescue, I would see vets easily treating, cases are treatable, like wound hai, theek kar diya, bukhar hai, theek kar diya. But whenever a paralyzed animal would come and they'll be like, isko euthanize kar do, iski quality of life nahi hoegi, or koi andha janwar hai, isko bhi euthanize kar do, is quality. And my question was, kyun nahi hoegi? It's not up to the animal, it's up to you. Give them the quality of life that you can. It's going to be challenging, but it's going to be worth the challenge. And that's like Faltu se Paltu, even the name. We were at the vets and Ghoda hospital हुआ. So वहाँ पे एक पपी था, कमरे में था, वो रोए जा रहा था, आवाज से आ रही थी. फिर उसे अंदर क्या है, आपने क्या बंद किया है, मुझे देखना है. तो उन्होंने कहा बाजी छोड़ दे, वो कुत्ता है, वो पैरालाइज हुआ है, फालतू है, आपके किसी काम का नहीं है. So I just went there and picked him up, named him Original, and he went up to 3 years and he had the best life. He would wear diapers and he would hop everywhere. And he had the best life, and they don't differentiate themselves on their disabilities like humans do. They don't care. They do realize that we are different, but that's not something that makes them sad or they feel like we cannot do this anymore. So that is where things change. Like I was Original. Initially we had cats of all sorts, dogs of all. Dogs were just healthy dogs, but one was a tripod, not very special needs. But then Original came in and I was like, okay, these are the animals, and then there are a lot of work. So we designed our entire system. We have a very strict capacity. We're like, okay, we're not crossing 100 because our motto has always been कि आप कम कर लो, ठीक है, पर आप जितने हैं उनको बहुत अच्छी लाइफ दो. So this is what we usually believe in. Other shelters, they're doing amazing work as well, but they're mostly working around the kennel system. One, that you can bring in animals, they get shelter, they get food, that's okay. But our animals, they have to get company, they have to have human time, they have to have their own space, own routines. So this is something that we started, and really hope that more people get into it. It's more work, it's more responsibility, but honestly I think these animals, they don't get a chance.
Yeah, that's true. And in your opinion, like ये तो आप individual levels पे, like we were talking about, कि there are many people coming, like showing up for these animals. You have multiple shelters now in Pakistan in different cities. But what do you think at a policy and structural level would help in kind of, transforming animal welfare right now? So it kind of goes beyond just individuals doing what they can in their capacity, but, like in a more of a societal level.
Societal level, I think we really need to have the government step in at this point. Because right now what happens is that while a lot of people are putting in the effort they can, there are a lot of entities that are putting in the effort they can, but at the end of the day, when the regular public sees the government killing these animals, when there's reward on these animals, okay, you bring in a dead body, you get 500 rupees, you get 100 rupees, you're getting budgets for doing it. So all of the work that we are doing, it becomes very elitist in that manner. So you go there, we go out, we have these awareness campaigns and stuff, and they see this, okay, हम किसी और दुनिया से आए हैं, हमें real world इश्यूज नहीं पता, और हम जानवरों की बात कर रहे हैं तो इंसान बन रहे हैं सारा कुछ. सो वो एक जो प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई नहीं हो रहा ना, वो हम नहीं करवा सकेंगे. दैट हैज टू हैव ऑन अ गवर्नमेंटल लेवल, एंड दैट कैन ओनली हैपन इफ दैट ब्रिज इज फाइनली क्रॉस फ्रॉम बोथ एंड्स. राइट नाउ द गवर्नमेंट इज वर्किंग लाइक व्हाट they don't want more dogs on roads. We also want that there should be lesser dogs on the roads. We also want, but our ways are very different. This has to happen together. Otherwise जो वो कर रहे हैं वो भी फ्यूटाइल है, और कहीं ना कहीं जो हम कर रहे हैं वो भी एंड फ्यूटाइल है, बिकॉज वी रेस्क्यू दीज एनिमल्स, वी हैव टू सेंड अ फ्यू बैक टू द रोड्स. ऑब्वियसली TNVR करके कुछ अरसे बाद वहाँ के सारे जानवर मर जाते हैं, उनको मार दिया जाता है. तो आपको ये जो अगर पॉलिसी लेवल पे कुछ करना चाह रहे हैं, यू हैव टू इंक्लूड एनिमल वेलफेयर एंड से दैट यू हैव टू टेल योर पब्लिक यू हैव टू लिव विद एनिमल्स. लाइक दिस हैज टू, लाइक उन्होंने बहुत सी चीज़ें हमें बता दी है ना कि अब आप ऐसी जिंदगी गुजारेंगे, अब आपने ये टैक्स पे करना है तो आपने करना है, अब ये रूल है तो ये रूल है. दिस ऑल्सो हैज टू कम आउट एज अ रूल दैट एनिमल वेलफेयर इज अ थिंग, एनिमल अब्यूज इज अ थिंग, एंड यू हैव टू लिव विद इट. ये वो डंडे के जोर पे समझाएंगे आप जनरल पब्लिक को, तभी कुछ बदलेगा, वरना नहीं बदलेगा.
राइट. Going back to the operations of it, you've just moved shelters also. What would you say is your top 2-3 challenges that you face in the management of it?
Okay, so the first most challenge that we have faced is that there's a lot of lack of support. That even when you tell your people who are around, who you have been around for a while, for example our neighbors and stuff, while we were moving, we're like, could we please get an extension because we have to look for places. When I was looking for shelters, और हम बताते थे कि अच्छा ठीक है, we will be coming with the dogs and all, तो वो कहते थे कि फिर आपने ये जगह क्यों लेनी है, वहाँ पे हमारा डेरा है, तो उधर वो बने हुए हैं भैंसों की जगह, तो आप उधर रख लेना, तो वो ले लें, वो आपके लिए अच्छी है बहुत ज़्यादा. So just the idea that people would struggle with is that, you are trying to have a place especially for animals, and that animals can live there and be happy, and everyone asks me आपको बड़ी जगह क्यों चाहिए. पर ये चीज़ मेरे कुत्ते, उन्होंने चलना फिरना होता है, उन्होंने भागना होता है, and they would say कि नहीं बाजी आपने एक काम करें, आपको एक और जगह दिखाते हैं. And they would not allow. Most of people were like, we saw houses that were literally being used for parties and whatnot, and when we would say that we have dogs, they're like, no sorry, we're not renting out. So this is the mindset itself. Like you are getting the same rent you would get from any tenant, you would get anything, but they don't. और फिर उसके बाद अभी भी जो constantly challenge मैं face कर रही हूँ, हम लोग करते हैं operationally, is that you cannot control the barking. You cannot. We have systems for everything. We have very strict hygiene control, waste management, everything. We put that in place because we know that obviously we're living in a place where other people are being affected. But barking is something that you cannot potentially control to that level. So that is also always a threat. You never know when someone's going to show up on your door and say that, this is being a problem. And we do understand that this is actually a problem, but then there are other things as well. So it's just like कि जब आप point out करने पर आते हो कि सबसे बड़ा nuisance क्या है, आप सबसे पहले जानवर पे ध्यान कर देते हो. बाकी सारी चीज़ें, घर के बाहर से नाला गुजर रहा है, वो खराब है, वो कोई मसला नहीं है, ठीक है. वहाँ पे security threat बहुत ज़्यादा है, वो कोई मसला नहीं है. तो and not just us, many other shelters they face the same issue. I know a few, उनकी आके दीवार गिरा के चले गए हैं कि ये आपकी थोड़ी सी extra थी. ACF has to move so many times. Many shelters eventually have to move very, very far away. So this happens because you're not still, like, even if we're not taking anything from you, the point is you're not giving animals the right to be in their own space. सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग जवाब मुझे लगता है, जब आप सड़क पर कुत्ता बचाने जाते हो तो वो कहते हैं कि उसको आप इतना प्यार है तो अपने घर ले जाओ, फिर जब अपने घर लेकर जाते हो तो फिर कहते हैं घर पे क्यों रखा हुआ है, नहीं घर से निकालो. सो मुझे वो समझ नहीं आता कि आप चाहते क्या हो, कि किधर लेकर जाओ मैं से.
Working you've been working with these animals for like 10-12 years now. What is something that you've learned that is about animals that you wished that people knew more? Like, what is something that you wish they understood about this work?
I think everything from A to Z. But I think one thing that has really changed my perspective on everything I do is that we even as caretakers, as rescue workers at point कि हम भी इतने desensitize हो जाते हैं अक्सर, because आप daily का आपका एक काम है, आप ये देख रहे हो, you forget that every encounter that you have with an animal, I personally see this that okay, this is an amanat जो आपको अल्लाह ने दी है, and you have to put in your best into it, and you have to make sure that you know whatever you can do in your personal capacity, you do it. But mostly what happens in this is something that has changed my perspective. Initially मुझे पता था हम रेस्क्यू करते हैं, ठीक है, रेस्क्यू में ये भी हो जाता है, वो भी हो जाता है, सारा कुछ, और आप एक पॉइंट के बाद ना you start treating them as numbers as well. That happens because there's so much of load, there's so much work कि आप उसको फिर उस तरह just to survive, that's what you do. But this is something that has changed over the years, and more that I've connected with the animals, that every animal has just one life. Yes, you might have 100 animals, but every animal has just one life. That's just it. So he or she deserves the best. And if they are put under your custody, if they are put under your care, you need to give your 110% there. I really think that even as rescuers, as people, yes, loving animals is one thing, but we need to respect them. We need to understand them as individuals, our different personalities. We cannot just expect them कि उन्हें खाना दिया, उन्हें रहने की जगह दे दी और ये कर दिया तो बस वो खुश ज़िंदगी गुजारी. You need to understand that they come in with traumas. You need to understand that they're going to have their own boundaries, their own personalities. They're going to have their own everything. We have animals at the shelter. हर किसी की अपनी अलग अलग personality है. So we try कि हम हर किसी को उसके according treat कर रहे हो. So this is something I genuinely feel that you know people need to start looking into this more.
Right. You talked about Original, but is there any other like rescue that is very memorable to you that you felt like ये तो नहीं होगा, like you kind of didn't realize?
My own dog, Happy. So yeah, he was rescued like 8 years ago. So he was like a small dog. और उसके जो owners थे, they were traveling, उसे पीछे छोड़ के चले गए मुलाजमों के पास. तो बड़े कुत्ते ने अटैक किया, 20 दिन उस तरह इन्फेक्शन में पड़ा रहा कि उसकी पूरे ना उसके मसल्स इन्फेक्ट हो गए थे, उसकी गर्दन पीछे टेढ़ी हो गई हुई थी. सो हम क्लिनिक के बाहर वेट कर रहे थे, तो वो फाइनली मुलाजिम को उधर से कॉल है कि इसको डॉक्टर पे लेके जाए. वो आए और वो बाइक पे था बिकॉज डॉक्टर वाज इन सर्जरी. तो मैंने देखा है वो उसे उठा के अंदर लेके गए, तो उस सेकंड में उसे वापस बाहर ले आए. तो वैसे एक डॉक्टर तो अंदर है नहीं, तो ये इसको ले जाएंगे, कुत्ता बचेगा नहीं. तो आई जस्ट पार्क माई कार राइट बिहाइंड द बाइक. ऐसे ये गाड़ी नहीं हटेगी, ये बाइक कहीं नहीं जाएगी, खड़े नहीं कुत्ता चेक होएगा. सो I am sort of like that, to get in a lot of fights because of it, but there's no other way. We don't understand other ways. So फिर वो चेक हुआ, and the vet was हैरान कि ये कुत्ता जिंदा कैसे है. He wasn't fed for so many days and he was in the terrible state. So I picked that dog up and they're like, ये कर्नल साहब का कुत्ता है, ये इसका कुत्ता है. मैंने कहा जिन साहब का भी कुत्ता है उन्हें कि मुझे फ़ोन कर लें, कुत्ता आपको नहीं मिल रहा. And I took him home, and you know it was for 2 months his jaw was locked and he couldn't move. So for 2 months, you know, I would feed him by hand and I would take him everywhere, and the doctors were like, put him down, this is not going to work out. They stopped medication and everything. I was like, no, I'm not putting him down. As long as he's there, I'm here. 2 months after they took his first step, and then he started walking and then running, and he went up to about like 11 years, and he just passed away in May. So that was like that dog changed me entirely, and that dog was the sole reason that I went on and on, and he would go everywhere with me. You might have seen some videos as well. I would take him to the schools as well. So वो साथ जाता था हर जगह. He would love going there, and that was the best thing that could happen. And I saw that dog because practically and physically, that dog could not have lived. But the only thing that he experienced love, and he was like, okay, finally I'm going to get love. And a few months later, I got a message on Facebook, and they tell him that ये कुत्ता मैंने ही अलीना को दिया था, ये हमारे से पहले भी नेबर्स का था, वो भी इसको छोड़ के चले गए थे. That dog was abandoned thrice, and he had such separation anxiety कि फिर जब मैं कहीं जाती थी वो चीखें मारता था और रोता था. और even before his death और सारा कुछ ना, वो the moment I would come home, that dog would come alive, and when I would leave, वो दरवाजे के आगे बैठता था, ना वो खाता था ना वो पीता था. So that is like it was such an honor to just be around him. And when he passed away, it was like one of the most difficult times of my life, but that was the sole reason that I held on to it.
What do you do about the emotional toll of this? Like, it's just, I'm thinking even if you have like full capacity 100 animals, I'm sure you get attached to each one of them when you're working with them. And then of course, they all have their life cycle, they pass away. So the emotional toll of just managing and then also getting attached and then also letting go, how do you manage that on like a personal level?
That is something that I've just started to navigate, because for the initial few years I did not even understand what's happening to me. Anxiety, depression, and feeling so low, and trauma, and all of these words for initial years, it did not exist at all. And then I saw my body really go down, and then I had no threshold for any sort of pressure at all. That's when I realized things are sort of going wrong. Even with Happy, I lost 2 dogs back to back. My third dog, Iris, and then Happy, they both were lost to a virus that came in. So, even after that, for 2-3 months, I was completely rendered incapable to work. So that's when my team stepped in and they were taking care of everything. But I just could not be around animals. I just could not do anything at all. So it's very real, the grief and trauma that comes in. And also, these were like very special animals to me. But even with a regular rescue, there's a lot of guilt. They're always like, kash maine ye kar liya hota, there were more options and all. So you really need to understand, like, I had to give myself a lot of grace. I would really, really thank Nia, the other director of Faltu Se Paltu, when she joined this. She's the one who started telling me that, no, yes, you've been doing this for so long on your own, but you also need to realize that you're human. For such a long time, you don't remember that you're human. There is no place where that tells you that it's okay to grieve, it's okay to pause, because at times you honestly don't even get that time, because you just bury one animal, the other is there, and that you need to step up, and that has happened. You have to numb yourself, but eventually it takes a toll on you. And I have experienced that. I started taking therapy after it, and there was a long way to go. Even still now, it's very difficult. So this is something that all shelter workers, all rescue workers, they need to understand that mental health is going to be important. For initial few years, you might be able to get through, but eventually it will take a toll. So it's best to address it as it comes, right?
And to maybe build coping mechanisms.
Yes.
Something that can help
coping mechanisms, support systems, because this is what we just talked about today, that this is a field that is just coming out. There hasn't been rescue work before this. There hasn't been, and with animals, especially with humans, you still have some sort of dialogue to have or something. With animals, you completely take the position of the sole caregiver, the sole caretaker. So it literally, anything that goes on, you like, this is my fault, or how do I deal with it? And there is so much love with animals that you cannot possibly be okay, the animal passed away. Even with vets, I was having this conversation with my vet, and he's like, we are so scared when we go into surgeries, because we feel like that we are responsible for this life at this point. So what do we do? So वो फिर वही वाली चीज़ है कि you keep on telling yourself कि ये अमानत है, you do your best. At the end of the day, obviously it's going to be Allah's call, and you have to move on with it, but it's not easy at all. Not easy.
Sure. If someone else, like if there's someone who does want to help, but they're really confused as to how to do it, so what's like one small, maybe meaningful thing they can do?
So I always say that you need to have these small intentions and small acts that can go a very, very long way. So for starters, just start being aware of the animals in your own surrounding. See if you could leave out water, see if you could leave out food, see if you could foster for a while. Maybe that animal could live in a garage instead of the roads. That helps. If that is not a possibility at all, so maybe spend some time with animals at the shelters. They always need that. You can volunteer, you can spread the word out, you can sort of donate. If you have any skills, you can become a part of these systems. So just that you have to have that intention, I want to help, and you will find 110 ways to help. But the first intention has to be I want to be able to help. Most people, they shy away from this. Why? Because they're like, oh, there's going to be so much pain, there's going to be so much misery, I cannot take it, it's not okay for me. And yes, there is, but there are so many other aspects of shelters that you could be part of, where you might not have to work hands on with these animals.
Asha, so one thing that I wanted to talk about is you have kids on your shelter helping with these animals, and aapne ek dafa you had posted this online, I think, this discussion ke it's very interesting to see how kids kind of interact with animals. And so ek to talk more about that. Dusra, and I think up outreach, maybe you try to kind of go to schools and go to places where there are children. So why do you think it's important कि बहुत early exposure हो जाए? What are the benefits of that?
So basically, like we just talked about earlier, that apathy is a learned behavior, but that happens after a certain age. Before that, you have margins. Before that, they have that innocence intact, where they're still exploring, they're still learning. So अगर उनको that thing makes sense उनसे तब, so उसके बाद to be able to tell them that these animals, they don't hold emotions, that is going to be futile. So this is why I say that kids are the future. That with children, you're going to change the narrative, because if at this point they understand that animals do have emotions, that animals do have personalities, that they're individuals, then nothing will ever change their perspective. And once emotions step in, the fear cannot be able to govern. So even at the shelter, what I love the most about children, usually when I started Father Sabalu, I say that I loved animals, I loved dogs, but then when we went on with the awareness initiative, I was like, I loved animals and I love dogs and I love children. And yeah, they're so similar in so many ways, that the joy, the purity, the presence, it's there, and they recognize us in each other. So I was having this workshop with some children at Canal Park. I was like, क्या आप लोगों को पता है कि जानवर और कुत्ता और इंसान बस सेम होता है? आपको खुशी होती है, उसको खुशी होती है, आपको रोना आता है, उसको भी रोना आता है, आपको डर लगता है, उसको डर लगता है. And one of them asked me this question, फिर हमें सुबह दांत ब्रश करने होते हैं तो उससे भी करना होता है. And that was like one of the sweetest questions that I've ever presented. And that's when I realized that they are like blank slates there. Whatever you're going to tell them right now is going to be with them for life, and it's not, after a point, it's not going to be their fault. So we were having this workshop in a park जहाँ पे हम कुत्ता लेके गए हुए थे, और वो उसको सारे बच्चों से इंट्रोड्यूस करा रहे थे. तो वो बच्चे, they were very eager to touch the paws and touch the face and all, but the mom there, she was like, ना करो, उसके नाखून है, ना करो, उसके दांत है. So I paused for a minute and I said, आपके भी हैं नाखून, आपके भी हैं दांत, आपके भी हैं, पर लाजमी तो नहीं है कि आप हर्ट करोगे. वो भी नहीं करेंगे. सो अगर आप बच्चों में से वो डर बहुत अर्ली एज में निकाल दो कि ये चीज़ या ये एंटिटी आपको हार्म करने के लिए है, सो दे वुड गो ऑन फॉर्मिंग दैट बॉन्ड. सो वी हैड दिस प्ले, एंड for awareness outreach, I use a lot of body into it. I'm like body in the sense of theater. I'm like, I make children act in sort of like empathy that could be learned through literally putting them in their shoes. We used to have plays जहाँ पे वो कुत्तों की पूरी लाइफ गुजारते हैं और वो कुत्ता बनते हैं. One of them is helping, the other is the animal. So they sort of understand what the animal goes through. So I remember we started with a group of 20 children and we were rehearsing this play, and then eventually we had to go and perform this play. So वहाँ से गाड़ी में जब निकल रहे थे, it was a 3-week workshop. तो ना 20 बच्चे थे, 20 के 20 निकल गए. एक बच्चा जो था वो कह रहा नहीं भाई कुत्ता है वो काटेगा. And the 20 they turned around and they said अभी तक नहीं पता लगा कि नहीं काटेगा. And that was the moment where I was like, these 20 children, they're going to go on, at least if nothing more, they're not going to harm the animal. If they're not going to step out of their ways and help the animal, they will not harm the animal out there. So children are very curious beings. They want to know what's there. And even when you see them hurting animals, they usually do it with the intention of getting a reaction out of them. जैसे चीज़ों के साथ करते हैं कि बटन दबाएंगे तो क्या होगा, ये करेंगे तो क्या होगा. सो वंस यू टेल देम कि क्या होगा, इससे पॉजिटिव रिएक्शन कैसे होगा, दे वुड गो ऑन नर्चरिंग इट. सो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट दे आर टॉट दिस एट एन अर्ली एज.
लवली. So do you आपका outreach, are you continuing to do outreach with institutions या किस तरह से, how does that work?
Okay, so the major outreach program that we designed was on the roads. So we would go to places जहाँ पे जैसे slums हैं, जो कि basic public है, जहाँ पे parks हैं, उधर जाके हम ये करते थे. So that is the program that happens, but not on a very regular basis right now. We intend to go back to it very often, but with schools, yes, we're doing workshops, we're doing talks. But I always say that yes, that is schools and all these educational places, that is one thing, but the actual educative part needs to happen on the roads, because that is where the animal is, and that is where the people who are actually living with the animal is.
Right.
So it has to happen there.
Right. And you're also starting a new initiative, PayAlif ke naam se.
Yes, so PayAlif is basically the social enterprise that initially came into being to help support Faltu Se Paltu, but it is something that I think will grow bigger than that, because we have been around for a very long time. We have seen what the veterinary industry is. We have seen what the food industry in Pakistan is. And the problem with both of them is that they do not have the animals' interest at heart. You see a lot of vets there to make money, but they will have zero compassion for the animal. You would see a lot of pet food brands out there, and it's a complete market system. And what I feel is that the animal cannot go out there and tell you, this is good for me, this is bad for me. So I'm like, you can actually have an entire space in place for them that is built out of compassion. And there's so compassion in, I always say that humans, and शुरू से जब मुझे narratives कहते हैं ना कि कुछ जानवर क्यों बचा रही हो तो इंसान मर रहे हैं, तो मुझे कहते हैं it's very interlinked, we don't understand it. So even with PayAlif, it's a grassroots initiative where you're bringing together animals and the community and the earth itself. So we're trying to bring together all of this. It's a very circular thing. So hopefully that goes well. It will be out in the next month, yes.
Inshallah. And so I think at the end, just how can people connect with you? What are your main communication channels jahan people can reach out?
Socials, you can reach out to us on Facebook. You could reach out mostly on Instagram though. Yes. And we have our numbers here with the vets, with the groups as well. So you can reach out to us. You can report the animals if needed. You can come join us for internships. You can just come spend time with the animals, whatever you want. So we're very open to working with the community out there, whatever perspective.
Right. Thank you so much. And all of Faltu Se Paltu's details will be in the description. So you can reach out to them, help out, support however you can. And thank you so much, Hannah, for coming today. And yeah, that's it.